Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of it. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. These energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you end up resonating more with the energy to my right than to my left, or if you're a cross watcher, then vice versa, do remember that these are general readings. They're not here to resonate fully for everyone. So take what resonates and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Sagittarius, this week, as always, I've gone ahead and pulled the overall oracle cards for each side of the connection, but I've actually clarified it with a fourth tarot deck. So we'll be diving into a different tarot deck for every side of the connection as well, but then I also have these three cards from this tarot deck. I have it over here already shuffled if I want it for clarification. I haven't used it yet this week, but I do have it in case I decide to use it. And then, as always, we've got our Soul Truth Self-Awareness deck that we'll be pulling at the end in the extended. All right, let's start. What am I doing? I'm about to jump into tarot already. Let's start, Sagittarius, with looking at your side of this connection. You have Shadow with the Nine of Swords. There is no doubt that this connection brings out your shadow side. So pokes at that unhealed version of you. Specifically with this Nine of Swords, I feel like it really, truly brings your fears, your doubts, your insecurities mainly to the surface. So if you are struggling with feeling undeserving, or if you don't feel like you are good enough, or whatever the case is, this connection is definitely poking at those aspects of you. Now, those are usually the connections that help us grow the most, right? The ones that do poke at our insecurities. This person, they have release with the Nine of Wands in reverse. It kind of feels like they are trying to cut this connection off, but they're struggling to do so. I also feel like what this could talk about for your side of this connection is this release card is cutting ties to unhealthy or toxic people, behaviors, situations. And that could be because the Nine of Wands in reverse can also be like approaching the end of a cycle, but having a hard time closing it. And maybe this is saying that cutting this person off is the best way to close that cycle. I'm not saying that's what's happening yet because I haven't dove into tarot, but I do feel like this is something about like someone cutting someone off, but really having a hard time fully releasing them from their energy. Now, in between this connection, you both have growth with the Death card. The way that I see this growth card is that this connection, it just feels like you've been going around and around and around in circles, maybe even kind of experiencing the same kind of lessons or arguments or painful experiences with this person. There's some sort of a cycle that's needing to end here with this Death card. And I feel like that within this connection is keeping both people from being able to fully experience healthy love and ultimately the kind of love that, everyone's deserving of. And I feel like this cycle in between here in particular is affecting both of you. But let's start, Sagittarius, by looking at your side of this connection. You have the Nine of Swords with the Shadow card. This is for Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Sagittarius' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. What does Sagittarius need to know about their side of this connection? Oh, okay. Ten of Pentacles in reverse with the King of Swords, the Strength in reverse, and the Two of Cups. Okay. Could be dealing with an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You don't have to be, but I am saying this as this person's energy. They have a tendency to super take you for granted with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And it's almost kind of taken your power away when it comes to love. I feel like you're struggling to see and have like the same confidence as you used to. Both of these cards have lions in them. And the way that I'm kind of seeing that is it's like you've lost that lion within you. Like, yes, I know lion is kind of, geared towards being the sign of Leo, but I'm really feeling this is like this lion inside of you, like this powerful part of you has been buried because of this person's like tendency to take you for granted. And I feel like that's left you, and that's why I feel like so many of your fears and your insecurities have been brought to the surface through this connection, is because it has been um so very painful to feel underappreciated. That's funny. There's the Nine of Swords, which is right there. Feeling underappreciated, feeling, like I said, not good enough, or, not lovable, or whatever the case is. This connection is definitely bringing a lot of those fears, insecurities to the surface. All right, Sagittarius' side of this connection, what do they need to know about their side of this connection? This is for Sagittarius' side of the connection, the Ace of Pentacles with the Death. This connection is providing you with an opportunity to end some sort of a past cycle here, because now this Nine of Swords in reverse is popping up again. So it almost feels like it's allowing you to work through a lot of these insecurities, which has ultimately been your biggest, with the Five of Wands in reverse. Whatever Nine of Swords are being poked at through this connection are like your biggest resistance to love. Resistance to being able to attract the love that you're ultimately deserving of. So it's interesting because it almost feels like this is saying like this connection is an opportunity for you. And it's to end a past cycle that you've been dealing with for quite some time now. This might not be the first connection that you've experienced this kind of treatment, or that you felt this way. Sagittarius' side of this connection. So Sagittarius' side of this connection, please. So Sagittarius' side of this connection. There's the Death in reverse. So there are certain changes that are needed from you with the Death in reverse, because the Death in reverse is like this hesitation to make certain changes, or this resistance to change even. To fully close out the cycle, because this Page of Cups in reverse to me is not listening to the signs. That could be avoiding red flags, or not listening to the reality, living for like the hope of a situation. Because the Three of Cups here, actually, there's something about this Three of Cups that's interesting. I want to get more on this. Clarifying this Three of Cups. Clarifying this Three of Cups for Sagittarius, this side of the connection. I don't know why, but it's giving me a weird vibes here. Okay. Because it's not the usual Three of Cup kind of message. The way that this is kind of coming through is you have a tendency, and we've all been there. So bear with me through this message. But you have a tendency, Sagittarius, to look for people, the love of other people, to make you feel whole and to make you feel worthy and deserving of love. Meaning that you look for the love of others to bring forward the love of feeling, or the feeling of being lovable. Now, that can be really dangerous because when we start looking for our worth and our feelings of being lovable in others, we can start sacrificing who we really are or going above and beyond to try to achieve that worth, which can keep us staying in situations that aren't good for us, mistaking unconditional love with unconditional tolerance, um, and just ultimately doing more than we need to attract or to bring about someone, even someone's specifics, love for you. And it feels like that is definitely something that might be happening in this connection a little bit. And again, which is why so many of your insecurities are being brought to the surface. So I feel like there's this need to look past the triggers and try to figure out what is really going on here, because I feel like this is kind of deeper than you realize. This is for Sagittarius' side of this connection. Yeah, because I do feel like things in this connection either have started to or have already fallen apart. And it's left you with this Five of Cups energy, kind of feeling disappointed, emotional, possibly even some depression, like just overall feeling really upset. And I feel like, of course, when connections that are important to us kind of start to fall apart or, don't come together in the way that we expected them to, it can be disappointing and it's natural to feel disappointment. But I also encourage you to get curious about that disappointment because I feel like this has been so painful and continues to be so painful because there's something buried within you that's trying to be brought to the surface through this connection. Because remember, this whole purpose for this connection, kind of being this truth of this, is to close out some sort of a cycle for you. And to me, I feel like it's a cycle of looking for your value in other people, which is a hard truth, right? But if you have a tendency to stick around a little bit too long, or if you have a tendency to put up with mistreatment, or, something along those lines, get curious about that. Why do you believe that that's all you deserve in love? Why are you fighting for someone or something? Or why did you fight for someone or something for so long who treated you so poorly? What aspects of you are looking for love in other people when you're needing to kind of find ways to love that part of you first? Kind of some deep messages here for you, Sagittarius. This is Sagittarius' side of this connection. Yeah, because you had this King of Cups in reverse with the Star. This is mistreatment that you received from this person. Like, this King of Cups in reverse can speak of emotional abuse, emotional manipulation. And now, if you speak about it from a place of psychology, like, there are so many reasons why we end up getting attached to people who treat us poorly and who, do have a tendency to be abusive, and talk about trauma bonding and things to that extent. But if you're looking at it from a, spiritual level, there's always a reason, right? There's always a reason why something happens or why we, our attachment to someone is so strong. And that reason typically has to do with trauma, fears, doubts, and insecurities associated with that. And so what I'm seeing here is, you're healing not just from the connection, but also from a lot of your past fears, doubts, and insecurities that are being surfaced because of this connection. So it goes so much deeper than you think it does. So Sagittarius' side of this connection, please. There's a Six of Swords. See, you're trying to move on from this. Or, I mean, you have the Eight of Cups and the Six of Swords. These are two cards of moving on, moving forward, regardless of how the situation stands right now. But I feel like you're having a hard time doing that because of this inner child energy, because of this Page of Wands energy. I want more on this Page of Wands, please. There's an aspect of this inner child energy that is keeping you attached to the painful cycles that exist within this connection. Clarifying this Page of Wands. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get too much information on this. See, this Page of Wands, I mean, this is the Chariot, another card of moving forward with the Eight of Wands here, and then you have this Three of Swords in reverse with the Star. These are two cards of healing. So what I'm seeing is this inner child energy that you're dealing with can be how you've experienced love throughout your life, you know, how you were taught to give and receive love. Maybe you were taught that love was painful. Maybe you were taught from, you know, a young age that love was transactional, or whatever the case that you're dealing with in this situation. It feels like the more that you heal from this connection, the more that you're actually healing some really deep-seated wounds that keeps you repeating these painful cycles. Because what I'm seeing is this inner child energy, it keeps you very kind of confused. Like it feels very, you feel very uncertain on how to move forward because so much of your being is being pulled to this connection, or was pulled to this connection, or is still pulled to this connection. And that's very confusing for you, especially if it was toxic, or if it is toxic, because there's a part of you that doesn't understand why you're so pulled to a connection that doesn't treat you well. And that confusion right there is your resistance to receiving the love that you ultimately deserve. So that's why I'm asking you to get curious about why you are feeling so pulled or so attached to a connection that hasn't given you much good. Maybe it had the potential to give you a lot of good, but at the end of the day, when you look at it without the rose-colored glasses, you can say, yeah, no, this connection really hasn't given me much except for pain. Let's look at this person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. Clarifying release with the Nine of Wands in reverse. This is this person's energy towards Sagittarius. It's funny. There's the Eight of Wands that we just pulled. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. There's the Five of Cups. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. What does Sagittarius need to know about this person's energy? Justice in reverse with the Five of Coins in reverse. And then the Empress. At the beginning, I mentioned that this person is trying to release this connection from their energy field, but is struggling to do so. And I actually feel like that could go both ways. But it feels like they feel a sense of loss here when it comes to this connection. But at the same time, with this Justice in reverse, they have certain issues or karmic aspects to them that keeps them from being able to build a solid, stable connection here. And I feel like that's because they don't know how to work through their own emotions, because like this Empress here, it's like they see you as this Empress. They see you as this Empress, but it almost feels at the same time, maybe they look for ways to invalidate this connection, trying to find problems where they don't exist, or yeah, it's the Five of Wands in reverse, because they don't know or aren't at a place in their life yet where they're able to healthily give and receive love or handle connections with maturity. Now, I haven't seen the page. I see the Page of Cups or the Knight of Wands in reverse. That kind of means like emotional immaturity, tendency for self-sabotage, but we'll see. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. Ooh, okay. Ten of Swords with the Ten of Cups in reverse. See, there is love here. But then there's that King of Cups in reverse. So here's the thing. This person has a tendency to idealize people. And specifically people in love and when it comes to these loving connections. And to them, it feels like you haven't lived up to their expectations. Not that you aren't good enough, but that they have, it feels like, very unrealistic expectations when it comes to love. So that's what's interesting here, is they have this like, they see you as this empress, they see you as someone who could be a match for them, but then they turn around and try to find reasons to not invest in this in a healthy way. So when they come out as this King of Cups in reverse, it's their way of protecting themselves. And though you can have empathy for someone, right, when they're in that energy, that doesn't mean that you have to deal with that or put up with that, or that dealing with that is the only way that you are going to receive love. Because that within itself isn't true. It just kind of feels like they're used to unhealthy love. And because of that, they create it's like, it's almost like you're too healthy for them in a way. Like you're too open-hearted, and like you're not in it for the drama or something like that. And it's like that's kind of the only way they know how to experience it. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. See, I don't feel like they've been very honest with you about how they feel. Because I don't feel like, okay, I want more on this Seven of Swords. I feel like there are certain aspects of their feelings that they're hiding from you. Clarifying the Seven of Swords for Sagittarius' person side of this connection. This is like deception. The Devil and then the Strength here. So this kind of feels, so they feel like they're the devil here. They have the Strength. It kind of feels like they look, when they're in vulnerable connections, they look for how they can attain and maintain control over the other person. And they do that because, well, they have this fear of being vulnerable and fear of people getting too close and so on and so forth. And so they control through deception or holding back from the truth, essentially. So this person tells you maybe exactly what you want to hear or exactly what they want you to hear. because I feel like they have a tendency to maybe keep you guessing or keep you uncertain or keep you confused. And the biggest reason for that is because they genuinely do not know how to form and maintain healthy connections. So they use deception and this kind of King of Cups in reverse energy, this emotional manipulation, to maintain their control when they feel someone is starting to get too close, or essentially when they do care about someone. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. It's interesting because their soul is tired. Four of Swords in reverse, Judgment in reverse, High Priestess in reverse. Someone told me that they wish that I would read the cards first before I said the messages, and I am trying. I really am. So this person, their soul is really tired because they don't they look at things through the lens of illusion. They look at things through the lens of their ego in a way that allows them to maintain that control. And that ends up falling on you in this way of like trying to read how they feel or trying to, understand their movements, choices, and decisions, when honestly, a lot of their movements, choices, and decisions, they're a little bit more calculated than you might think. Like it does kind of feel like this person is trying to maintain control in this connection. Now, I feel like this connection, the reason they're doing that is because this connection makes them feel very out of control. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. There's the Death. Death, Page of Swords, Six of Pentacles in reverse, Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So this is speaking of that karmic cycle. Because then you have the Lovers with that same King of Cups in reverse. So same Death, same King of Cups in reverse. Here's the Six of Pentacles in reverse, though. I feel like they're very aware that they don't or didn't give to this connection as much as you do, because you have this feeling of being taken for granted. And I actually feel like this person is very aware of that. They're not blind to the fact that they didn't give as much in this connection as you did. Now, I also feel like this is one of those people who is a taker. And takers will take until you have nothing left to give, meaning that they did probably take advantage of you and get what they could get out of this connection until you were left unable to give, or until they felt that they didn't have anything to take anymore and they walked away, or whatever the case is. And this Death here is really alluding to the fact, Sagittarius, that this is a cycle for you. You have a tendency with connections, and this is not just talking about this person, to give, and not demand, with love, that kind of reciprocation. And I feel like this person, they kind of, it's like they knew or know how much you care or cared, and are kind of, man, this is tough message playing on that a little bit. It's like they know how to keep you investing or keep you around, or they knew. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. And it's not that they don't have love for you. It just goes back to what I was saying. They don't know how to have healthy love, how to give and receive healthy love. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. Ooh. Reverse, Hangman in reverse with the Star and the Hierophant. They're holding on to whatever control they can to avoid having to heal. Because that's what it comes down to, right? People that look for control are looking for ways to avoid facing themselves, right? And facing who they really are. I posted a quote yesterday, which that this video releases on Saturday would be 3 days ago, on Wednesday, that said, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was like, the extent that a person can grow is directly proportional to the amount of truth they're willing to accept about themselves without running away. And it feels like this person isn't willing to accept a whole lot of truth about themselves and about their own shortcomings. And so they maintain their control of other people to avoid having to face that. And yes, that is seemingly very sinister. But it all comes down to a concept that hurt people hurt people. And we have to figure out why we have a tendency to invest and give ourselves to people that hurt us in return, and why we struggle to really truly walk away, and why there's a part of us that has a hard time letting it go. And that's all we can control, right? All we can control is ourselves. But okay, Sagittarius, in between this connection, you have growth with the Death card. I'm going to pull 9 different messages, and then I have an advice card to pull at the end. Thank you so much, as always, for your support of my channel. It means the absolute world to me. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Sagittarius.